So there's several ways that dance can help people with MS, and really I see dance as providing kind of a holistic benefit for people living with MS. So you can think of that maybe physically, mentally, and socially. So physically, dance can support people with maybe challenges with maybe their balance or mobility or flexibility, coordination, things we kind of associate with dancing. Also mentally, a lot of the people that I've worked with, they find a real improvement in their mood and their sense of self and just overall well-being, which can be great for people living with MS. And also socially, so a lot of people, you often don't dance alone, you dance with others in a room. And particularly the classes I research, it's all people living with MS. So they develop this shared understanding, belonging, and sense of community through dance that people can then find really beneficial. Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that's actually one of the things that's so great about dance is it's a really adaptable and accessible form of physical activity. So the classes that I research, we actually have people that are wheelchair users, but we also have people, that don't use any mobility support. So there's a real range. And the classes have seated options as well as standing options for, however the person living with MS is feeling that day. When we think about dance as well, it engages things, from the fingers to the toes. So it engages all different parts of the body, so it can be very accessible to someone, for however they might be feeling that day, or in terms of the mobility that they have in their daily lives. It's a good question, and what I've been asked before, and I think actually I'd argue probably dance is better for people that don't have a sense of rhythm, because then through the classes and through dancing, you can start to develop that sense of rhythm and find that confidence, find your own beat, really, maybe the soundtrack of your life through dancing, I think. And I've certainly seen that with people, they start to carry themselves as a dancer when they start dancing through these kinds of classes. So maybe they have their posture a bit differently, or when they reach for something, they, think of just having this dancer mindset. I think some as well have maybe felt previously they've been in opportunities such as a wedding where they've, felt they won't want to dance, they'll stay sidelined. Whereas actually after taking part in these dance classes, they find that sense of rhythm and sense of confidence that then they actually really get out on the dance floor. So there can be implications, I think. If you don't have rhythm, I'd say don't be afraid, and actually this class can be a great way to kind of find it in dancing generally, and then maybe you'll find yourself dancing in other situations you might not have thought. I think what I've been talking about more is these kind of structured classes where they're offered by, in my case, they're offered by Scottish Ballet in person weekly, but that is a very structured format, and I recognize that might not suit all people. I will note that class actually is now offered in an online hybrid format, so people could actually join from their homes and add that into their weekly routines no matter where they are living. So I think that's one way people could bring in dance. But there's also, of course, more informal ways. I think music is something that's really beneficial even on its own. So just to put on music around the house, and maybe too, if someone had physio exercises, maybe they can create their own personalized soundtrack, maybe make those exercises a bit more fun by adding music. And I think, a lot of people will live, maybe with different family members or with their partner, and you can always, turn on music and create a little boogie, and I think add, more movement day to day informally. So I think there's really no bounds of how you can start trying to incorporate dance into daily life and music. Even music, we do it quite often, just routinely, you listen to the radio in the car. But I think it's something that people could be more mindful about in a structured way like a class, or just putting it on more frequently in the house. Yeah, I actually have, I think, two quite powerful examples. So I've had the opportunity to research the same dance program in Glasgow, which is quite a big city, and then also in the Orkney Islands, which is a more rural island community. So one dancer in Glasgow, for example, she's been in the classes now for about 5 years, and she's actually started to find a real benefit in finding kind of an identity as a dancer. So she's kind of maybe lost some other identities owing to MS, and sometimes in conversations, she's confronted with that. But instead, she can kind of come back with, well, I'm actually going to my Scottish ballet class, and I exercise and I stretch and I dance with Scottish ballet. And that's been a really powerful identity for her to assume, just for her sense of self, but also in different social situations. So I think that's a real power with these classes. And then in Orkney, that's a newer program. So some people maybe don't have that dancer identity quite yet, but some actually don't live on the mainland, but they live on an island kind of just off. So they take the ferry into classes twice a week. So it's really quite an integral part of their routine. And the population on the island they're living is very small. So it's really opened up their social world and who they're getting to connect with. And they just love the classes and kind of structure their week around it. So it's really integral to their well-being and kind of their social well-being and their social circles. So I think for them, it's also really beneficial, not in terms of, as I noted with my other example, this deeper dancer identity, but actually just, their weeks and how they go about their lives.